guys, it's Purrmage and Valentine. Mwah. So I'm pretty excited today. Many of you know I've been watching Drawing with Waffles for a while and struggling to figure out what she uses to do a lot of the white in her drawings. And I know that she says in the videos a lot of the times what her products are, but I haven't been able to find them. I've been hunting and hunting and hunting for these gel pens that she's always talking about, and I found one of them finally. So this is the Sakura Jelly Roll. Excuse you, I'm shooting. He does not care. Classic 08 bright white ink gel pen. Apparently it is ice cream smooth. So I have done some prep work in my sketchbook. There's a sketch on here. You can't see it because I can't see it. So if you can see it, I'll be mad impressed. And I'm going to ink it in white and shoot the process and share it with you guys. So without further ado, let's get on with it. So as you can imagine, I was super excited to try out these gel pens. Like I said, I've been watching Drawing with Waffles for a while. I love what she does with white ink. Of course, she is adding white ink to her drawings at the end after she has done all of the usual line art in black. So I was trying a little bit of a different approach than what she usually does, but I was really excited to use a product that she's used before to make the art that I really admire. The first thing I noticed, however, was that these are not especially easy to use. Watching it now play back in the video, it actually shows up a lot better in the video than it really shows up in person. I was having kind of a hard time seeing what I was doing, and I wasn't really crazy about how these pens drew on top of what I had already laid down. And what that is basically just ink that's been smeared around with water. It's not watercolor. But I didn't find that this gel pen really drew on top of the watercolor very well. I found that I was really struggling to get it as opaque as I was hoping for it to be. And some lines I had to go over multiple times in order to really get the look that I was going for. And I wasn't anticipating that, and so I found that a little bit frustrating. But essentially, I just proceeded as I normally would with a black line art with this white gel pen. And in retrospect, I wish I had approached this drawing a little bit differently rather than just doing a normal line art in white. I wish that I had thought more about light and dark and tried to draw maybe just the highlighted portions of the face and the hair rather than drawing every single line like I would normally do. I'm not unhappy with how the final image turned out, but as I was going, I just found that they were difficult to use, and so I was kind of annoyed with myself for having to draw so many lines, but also the parts of the drawing that I thought were most successful were like these highlight shines that I'm doing on her lips right now, or the one in her eye, and later I do a few on her nose and ear. And I just found that those were the most successful parts of the drawing, and I wish that I had done that a little bit more rather than focus on a line work like I normally would. Now this highlight on her cheekbone I don't think turned out as well. I was thinking about makeup highlighter and how it kind of shines, but I don't think I got the shape of her cheek quite right. The one under her eyebrow I'm a little happier with, but in general I think that I should study light and shadow a little bit more before trying to repeat something like this. One of the hardest things for me with this particular piece was how I had to draw. Now, when I usually draw, I'm all about directionality of line. I always start at the scalp and work my way down to the end of the hair because that's how the hair grows. And I find that drawing that way makes the hair look more natural. But I noticed with these pens, they seemed to write better in the opposite direction if I kind of dragged it along the paper rather than trying to pull it towards myself. I had to kind of push it away. So I was finding that I had to start at the tip of the hair and draw up to the scalp, which you can see here. And while I don't think that the final piece ended up looking terrible, I just wasn't a fan of having to draw that way. I'm not used to drawing that way. I felt like I was kind of going over what I had already drawn and maybe smudging, which I didn't notice a lot of smudging, but I was nervous that I would get some. And also the tips just didn't come together the way that I normally like them to. They looked a little bit more messy, which in reality is how hair looks, but it's not how I prefer to make my drawings look. So I thought that that was the biggest drawback of these pens for me, was just having to work against this rhythm that I've set for myself with my drawings in the past and going against my instinct to draw a different way because it wasn't really possible to draw the way that I'm used to drawing. And that's another thing with, wishing that I had just done chunks of light rather than a bunch of lines, because I think I would have been more successful had I just drawn chunks of light and not had to worry about what direction the pen was moving in or not moving in. So at this point is the biggest disappointment in myself that I had with this drawing. I've laid down this gorgeous ground of all these different colors with light and dark and gradients, and I don't take advantage of it. I'm drawing shine on the hair here, and there's a beautiful line of lighter blue right underneath where I colored in this highlight on the hair, and I could have used that as the highlight, and I didn't. I made up my own. And I think that was such a missed opportunity for me, and I'm kind of mad about it. I think it would have looked really awesome if I had just kind of let the highlight be where the ink wasn't or was lighter, and I think that would have been a really, really successful thing to do, and I'm, again, really disappointed that I didn't do that. And yeah, so that's what 4 years of art school will get you. Not paying attention and then wishing you did because you were taught how to do that. But I guess it's still pretty, but I'm really bummed about it. So it was not my intention at all to use watercolor with this piece. Hence, I started with ink and then just, smeared the ink around with water and was using water-soluble inks on purpose. But like I said, in person, when I was drawing this, I felt like the white was really not showing up against this background that I laid down well at all. And it's amazing to me how different it looks in the video. In the video, I think that it would have been okay without the watercolor, but in reality, it was very difficult to see still. So rather than going around it all with a black line like I normally would, I decided that I would just add watercolor only on the outside. I didn't want to add any inside the drawing because I didn't want to take away from all of that white ink work that I had just done. So I went all the way around the figure with this black watercolor, and I tried to fade it out into the rest of this galaxy-like ground so that it wouldn't look like I just did it around the figure to make the figure stand out a little bit more. But you guys know my secret. That's exactly what I did. So I think the key with these guys is contrast. I like it a lot more now that I've darkened up the edges, and I think I would like to revisit this idea because I had kind of a different plan going in than what I ended up with, and I think that this is a decent tool as much as I struggled with it. And I think a lot of it is going to come down to more practice because I've never used this before. And I grew up in the 90s, but I was never really big into gel pens. The most I used gel pens for was to draw like on my arm or whatever. So I think that this being my first time actually attempting to like create something with a gel pen, I think that that's why I struggled as much as I did. So I would like to revisit this idea again at a later date. Yeah. Eventually. So the very last thing that I did, because I'm a mixed media artist and this is in my sketchbook and I can, was add stickers to this. So these are gold foil stickers from 365 The Happy Planner. I love stickers of all kinds and especially gold foil ones. And since this was kind of a galaxy-ish background, I kind of wanted to stick with that theme. And so I made it look like she's in the sky. I thought about adding constellations with the white gel pen to her, kind of like a Quinny piece I had seen. But I ended up deciding that I didn't want to go that route, but I did want to add all these stickers. So there's a ton of these star and constellation stickers on this piece, and I'm really happy that I decided to do this because I actually really, really love the way that it turned out. And so here we are. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up. Comment below what you think of this white ink drawing. Give me a follow on all social media at Purrmage. And as always, thank you for watching. I'll see you next week. Bye.